SiriusXM is where moments happen, and you'll find them here 24/7. In music, talk, sports, comedy, and news. Live and on demand. And they're on in your car, online, or on the app so you won't miss a thing. Visit SiriusXM.ca/never-miss-a-beat. Hey guys, Ben Wu here, your host for CMA Connected. Thanks for joining us again on this nice Monday. Really creeping up on the holiday season, and I, for one, I am really looking forward to seeing 2020 go away. Not for business reasons. Business has been great, as you know, but I think everybody's ready for a fresh start, looking to 2021 and move forward. All right, so you're watching CMA Connected, and this show focuses on products, distributors, and dealers from a Canadian perspective. And on this show, we're not going to waste any time. We're going to dive right into it. You saw it in the header. Wavtech. Now, we had the chance to have Wavtech on a previous CMA Live when we're talking about not DSP, but OEM Integration. Jason Kemmerer is here to join us today, of course. But as I promised, a Canadian perspective. So a new guest that we're going to have on, I'm going to bring him on right away. His name is Kelly Holley, and he represents the distributor known as Importel. What's going on, Kelly?
Hey, Ben. How you doing? All good here?
Really happy to have you on. You know, when we're talking about doing this connected episode, of course, Importel covers a lot of products and a lot of different lines. But this is going to be the first in this series, so we're really looking forward to doing that.
Thanks, Ben. It's nice to be here. Yeah, we're a Canadian B2B distributor. 47 years. We've been around since 1973 is when we were established. So we've been around for a long time. You know, we've been specializing in the automotive market, marine products, power sports industry. We started off years ago when I came on board directly dealing with 12-volt independent retailers, and since then I think we've outgrown that. And I believe, and our direction now is we are an automotive distributor, B2B. Our building, you know, over those 47 years, I think we've been known as a customer service, technically sound distribution company in Canada. We try to have answers and make sure our customers are our number one priority. Currently, like you said, it's where we carry 6,000 SKUs active and can be ordered now today on our website. COVID has presented many challenges with inventory and supply chains, et cetera, but our fill rate and our ability to supply products has actually maintained pretty good over this last period.
Yeah, you know, we are blessed to be in an industry that happens to be flourishing, you know, within this COVID environment. We can't say the same for a couple other industries, of course. So let's just count our blessings and let's keep that momentum rolling into 2021. How about that?
Absolutely. Let's just move on to 2021, and hopefully there's some changes on other aspects of life as well as we move forward.
Okay, so let's dive right in. This category here, what is this category that Wavtech represents for you?
Wavtech is an OEM integration product. It's primarily based on LOCs, or line output converters. It's the ability to get sound into vehicles and not necessarily have to change out source units. And that's becoming a more and more prevalent part of our market, because the new screens, you know, Dodge Ram 10.1-inch screen, some of these new screens are just, you know, they're a stunning looking screen. Everything's integrated into them. So we're dealing with heater controls, heated seat functions. You know, everything seems to be now becoming more and more integrated, and customers are not just willing to lose those convenience features that are on that screen, plus the actual size of the screen, to add new sounds. So now it's become more of a challenge on how we actually incorporate amplifiers, subwoofers, speakers into these vehicles, and that's where Wavtech comes along.
Well, it sounds to me that we are talking about a product line that is critical, because this allows the dealer to say yes. Yes, we can do that for you. Yes, we can make your car sound better. And when we get yes, that means more business, and that's always a good thing. So why don't we bring in the specialist who's joining us today, Mr. Jason Kemmerer from Wavtech. Welcome to the show again, Jay.
Hey, Ben. Good to be with you again.
I gotta give you props. Yep, you still got one of the best backgrounds, my friend. Love it.
Hey, Kelly, good to see you too.
Hey, John.
So, unique combo here. We have Kelly representing Importel, who has all your interests in Canada at hand. Jason, of course, they do a great job distributing your product up here. Last time you were on the show, we got a chance to kind of get a better understanding of where Wavtech sits, amongst the sea of OEM integration type products. Right. Today, we get a chance to really dive in. So the first thing I'm going to ask you, Jay, is what are the newest and latest items that we need to know about? We have 30 minutes here. Dealers are tuned in, and we want to let them know what to look forward to.
Well, the fact is, we have a brand new model. You'll be the first one to see it. It's our new Link Q. And I'll go into that in a little bit if we get a chance. But basically what this is a combination of 3 of our other models put together, and at least 2 of our current models. So this is actually, those that are familiar with our line, this is a Link D plus a Link Q and actually Base Freak as well, all combined into a chassis that's significantly smaller than the Link Q was, and only about 5/8 of an inch longer than the Link D was. But it adds a lot of features, and it really consolidates the line. We're all about, and I think we talked about this before. We're all about maximizing the amount of coverage in the fewest number of models possible. And through just the 5 years that we've been doing this, we've made more changes that I think any major brand has made, just because we're so on top of what our customers want, and optimizing the line to maximize sales and business for them. So we're now back down to 6 SKUs that covers over 95% of the cars in the market. So,
there's a lot you said there I want to touch on. Why don't we just first, I should have done this earlier. I should have asked you. You mentioned it, though. It takes no time at all for a company like yourselves to turn around, listen to the feedback of the customers, adapt, and come out with a product. And a part of that has to do with you and your partner's history, and the fact that it's really just you and your partner. Why don't you tell us about that a little bit?
Yeah, we formed this company back about 5 years ago, and I spent over a year in development, because all of our products are ground up designed, and it was definitely a challenge to create a product line that is essentially universal, but does everything well. You can try to make a Swiss Army knife that does everything but doesn't do some of them well. In this case, it really truly does do everything well. And but that took a lot of effort. I mean, months and months and months just for the auto turn-on circuit, for example, which I think is probably one of the best ones ever done in the industry. But the formation of the company was based on we saw a market need. Both my partner and I have been in the industry for over 30 years.
As installer first.
As an installer first, yeah, that's how I got my start. I bugged the heck out of the local shop to give me a job. I had a new stereo in my car. I put it in myself, and they gave me a stock boy job, and I worked my way up to being an installer after that, and then eventually got into designing loudspeakers and whatnot throughout my career. But amplifiers, head units, processors, you name it. But and then Mike had his own shop, so and also installed. So we've come at it from the retailer's perspective, for sure. That's how we both always done products. That's and that you can see that in the way the product's been designed. It's definitely designed from an installer's point of view.
Well, that's really cool. Now, I'm going to bring us back here. So you mentioned you have a very simplified product line. I'm going to go ahead and bring that up, so maybe you can walk us real through what we're talking about, so the folks at home can understand how simple really it is.
Yeah. Six core models, 6 main models, and then a few accessories at the bottom. So everything from 2-channel all the way up to 8-channel, and everything in the line is a line driver except for the Link 2, and the Link DQ in the middle you see is actually a consolidation of 2 models we still have, but they're going to be replaced by the Link DQ, and then you get into the base processing, and then after that, it's into the summing processors. So the Link 4, 6, and 8 are all summing processors that also have aux inputs and stuff. So we can talk about those features in detail. But basically, once you understand the DNA that makes up why we sound the way we sound and why it works the way it works, it's just a feature difference between the models, because they all share the same input stage, same output stage, same design philosophy.
And I think what you said there is super important. And, I was curious about that as well, because obviously, you look at your base model, the little 2-channel versus going up all the 6 channels. So what you're saying is the sound quality that's coming through these guys are the same regardless of which model you choose.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's being done in different ways, obviously, depending on the number of channels and what kind of volume controls and stuff you have. But that was the target, and that's what we achieved. I mean, we have incredible signal and noise through all the models throughout the line. You know, ultra wideband frequency response, you name it, and that's all the way down to the Link 2, all the way up to the Link 8.
So what I'm hearing here, these are standalone active preamplifiers. Did I get that right?
Yeah, that's the best way to put it. Preamps. That's right.
So you're taking a line level, and you are. Is there any conditioning involved? Is there any tweaking to it? Like what is going on in there once you plug in the wire?
Well, there's definitely some filtration. I wouldn't say filtration. It's really isolation more than anything. So you have a full differential front end that separates basically the input from the output. So you're really giving your amplifier a true source. So all of our products, I would call them either a preamp or the new head unit, because they are the true source that the amplifier is seeing. So in the case of OEM integration, the differential input is just sensing, the speaker level signal, and then converting that to the proper line level, but also with the proper output impedance and everything that a modern amplifier wants to see for best sound quality, and of course voltage. Right. To drive the system.
I was just going to say voltage, because I mean the job of your units is to really send the amplifiers the best signal possible so that they can do their jobs. What kind of voltage are we getting out of your units?
It's actually over 10 volts RMS, up to over 10 volts RMS, depending on how you set the gain. So we have a clip indicator light on all of our models, but what that means is that you're putting out over 10 volts RMS. So in most cases, you're not going to see that light on in a practical application. There's a few amplifiers that can take over 8 volts, but so by having the 10 volts, that just means that over 10 volts, that means we can drive every amplifier made well into full power output with the gain at minimum. And that's really, that kind of goes into the design philosophy of all of our DNA, is that we really took a different approach. So we actually have a dual gain range on all of our units. So out of the box, they, say speaker level input is 2 volts to 20 volts, but we handle up to 40 volts. And so we broke that up into 2 ranges. And the reason for that is so, you can maximize the output with the minimum amount of gain. The less gain you have in the system, the better the sound quality you're going to have. And certainly with the amplifier side, we actually intentionally made them a little bit hot out of the box. So if you're hooking up to, the vast majority of vehicles, even amplified or 10 volts RMS. So the ratio at minimum gain is a 2-to-1. So you with all the gains and then the system down at minimum, you're going to get between 4 and 5 volts RMS, which is enough to drive most amplifiers to full output with the gain at minimum. So, I mean, think about where everything is rated, that's going to be your best signal and noise possible. And so that was really intentional to get some dealers to stop using the gain as, kind of a de facto volume and really think about where it is. And it kind of forces you to turn it down, right? Because it's going to be a little bit hot.
Very good. I'd like to direct the next question to Kelly. So after learning about what this product does, I'd like to hear a little bit about the history. So as Jason mentioned, the company's only about 4 or 5 years old. This market, I would consider that a new product to the market. And Importel being around for so long, you've seen that segment obviously evolve over the years. How much of a game changer has this line been, and the feedback that you've been getting from dealers, Kelly?
So with this line particularly, it's been huge for us. It provides us the ability to sell a higher end or line output converter, LOC, get better and achieve better sound within the marketplace for our dealers. I go back to, and I ask our dealers often, what are you trying to achieve? You're in this industry, or we're trying to achieve better sound. That's the whole goal. If you're not trying to achieve better sound, there's other LOCs out there. They're less expensive. They don't have as good an input stage. They're not pre-amplified. They don't have output stages where we can get up to 4, 10 volts if necessary, if the amplifiers can take it. So it really has opened up that marketplace and market segment where, we can provide good sound and, again, not change the head unit. We can actually, in some cases, give better sound than actually changing the head unit. So in my opinion, this line is a line that every dealer and every shop that is into the game to provide better sound, which is what we're trying to do, should have.
Well, could you add to that, Jason? What do you think of what Kelly said there?
Yeah, I mean, what we try to do is provide audiophile sound performance, but at a reasonable price. I mean, so this can be your everyday go-to line output converter, or the ability to keep the factory radio, and just simply adding a subwoofer onto a factory system. I mean, if by utilizing one of our products that actually is a true line driver, you can improve your dynamic range, make it hit twice as hard, and still have room in the system cost left over to upgrade the customer's RCAs and sell them a better amp and a better subwoofer and whatnot. So really value based high performance is what we are targeting, and I think that's what Kelly saw, and that's why we're such a good team.
Okay, so let's say I'm a dealer. I'm listening to this for the first time. Maybe I haven't tried a Wavtech product yet. I guess my next question is two parts. Number one, how should I sell it from a customer experience for them to spend this kind of extra money on their system on this small unit? I'm going to ask Kelly that question.
How do you sell it?
Yeah, how do you sell to the customer?
Well, like I said, it's going back to what people are actually looking for now, and some of it isn't to necessarily change the head unit or source unit, but they're looking to add better sound. So you got to go back to the DNA or the topology of the unit and what makes it different, what makes us produce a preamp level input, high voltage output. And give all that, and actually provide a better sounding product than maybe actually changing the head unit. And I think that's the pitch. And the demo is actually having one connected. You can easily show a Link D or a DQ now and show the difference between, even on an aftermarket head unit, how much better dynamically it'll sound by just taking and using the Link D in a line drive application. You can do that on a display board.
I was just going to ask, is that something that you would hear the difference on a display board, Jason?
Oh yeah. In fact, we actually made some little battery powered demos that for some of our reps that can take out there and just plug it straight in line with any demo board and show the difference of what a line driver can do. And like I was saying before, I mean, just the fact that you can turn all your gains all the way down and still have full output makes a huge difference in how the system sounds dynamically.
Wow. So there you go, guys. If you're wondering about how to sell it, put on your display board. Not only you, but the customer will hear the difference. And if that's yet another element you can add to your wholesale that has some good margins in it, I think that's the goal that we're trying to accomplish here, right? So, all right, let's continue talking about the product. I noticed that in the, let me just go back here real quick. I want to bring up that screen. I noticed that starting with the 2-channel on the top right, there's something called the bass restore. Why don't you talk to us a little bit about that?
Yeah, the bass restore is basically a reinvention of a category that's been around for about 30 years. And when it originally started, there was a couple reasons for it, but primarily, the music recordings back in the day really didn't have much bass, so there wasn't much bass content in the first place. But also, the head units at the time didn't have the greatest performance either. So this category has been around for a long time, and it's been kind of like circularly. Models copy each other, and no one's ever really taken a fresh look at it, and that's what we did, ground up. Like all of our designs are ground up from a fresh perspective. So we came out with the bass restore, which is in that same vein. It does add, it's basically a live remastering of your music. It adds bass content into the music that isn't actually in the recording, but in real time, so it sounds like it is actually in real time. And that can do a lot for you. It's not just for music that doesn't necessarily have any bass, but it can also compensate for OEM roll-off. But what makes it so different, this is the guy right here, is that you can see from anything else that's been done in this category, there's a couple main things that make it different right away. One is all top panel controls, but it's also a line driver and an LOC and a line driver, right? And it includes the remote, but all top panel controls, has all of our DNA, up to 40 volts input, over 10 volts of output, has built-in loading, which we haven't talked about yet. So it's a super quick bass upgrade, but more than just what the the Link DQ can do, that has a parametric EQ. This is actually bass restoration, and a couple other things, but I'll just say that one of the other things that makes it different than anything else that's been done before is it's a true preamp, right? So all the other products in this category have been just one-to-one, typically on the RCA input and RCA output, right? But so with being a true preamp, like all of our products, it can work with or without the bass restoration turned on. Actually, you can just press the knob and turn off the bass restoration process if say that next song that comes along is R&B and has quite a good amount of bass, and that means that this outer ring is your effect level, which is based off what you set on the main unit. That's the limiter. So this is your your effect level, and you can just set it where you like it most of the time and not have to keep messing with it to turn it up and down. And so when it's either way, this is still your subwoofer level, right? Even when the restoration is on or off. So a lot of things that really make it unique, and I think it's really changed the way that that category is structured.
I have to commend you on that knob. I feel that knob is very innovative, that it's multifunctional, and the way that you've incorporated the ring and the tap, because in some cases, you want to be able to take off that bass, just like you had mentioned, or add, vice versa, whatever. Right. The point is that one little piece of real estate control can do all that. I think must be a good selling point. Something I've noticed, guys, looking at this line, I mean, the DNA is apparent. Like it's intentional. The design is through and through every unit. I'd like to hear from Kelly the response and the track record as far as returns, or not just so much returns, but anything that, because the last thing you want is you want to be able to track the performance of the unit, but you also want to make customers happy. And I just want to know, from a distributor standpoint, how does this lineup fare as far as longevity and performance?
Wavtech, well, for starters, it comes with a 1-year manufacturer's warranty, which is a standard warranty within the industry. So far, the product line over the 3 years we've been doing it, I think we might have sent back product once, twice to them. Wow. It's almost a bulletproof brand. That goes back to the R&D, the research development, the build quality. If you look at the actual product, it's build quality. It looks like a substantial product. It feels like a substantial product when you touch or turn knobs or volume controls. They feel substantial. They're nice pots. If you ever open it up, look at the inside of it. It's built well. That goes to why we have very, very little breakdown with it. So overall, it's been a bulletproof line, and in both performance and returns.
Dare I say, it looks sexy enough to display in a custom install. Oh, look at that!
So there's
Hold on a second. Let me pull that up for a second. Look at that.
That's the inside of a Link D, but this is how all of them look inside. So we really spend a lot of time, to Kelly's point, really spend a lot of time on the reliability, and how our number one focus is to make them as small as possible for installability, but also to do that in a quality way. So we use 4-layer boards. We those little looks like a little amplifier power supply, because essentially it is 4-layer boards, surface mount technology, all kinds of things. And I've been doing this a long time, and this is our products here have the lowest defect rate I've ever seen out of anything I've done. And I think that just goes to show that spending a little bit more time up front and making sure everything is designed right, definitely works.
I also like the manageability of the lineup. It's pretty simple. Because my next question was to Kelly again. Like, if I was a dealer looking at maybe trying some of this stuff and getting some in inventory, what are some of the best selling items or the must-haves out of the lineup to take note of?
So honestly, honestly, when you look at it, it is a small and manageable lineup. Because of that, it is 6 SKUs. Our biggest selling is the Link D currently, which is now turning into the DQ, which I think it is now going to substantially increase the sales because of those 2 units being combined. D and Link Q are actually number 1 and number 2. Those 2, I think, are where you should start. I think that's your starting point. But overall, you're going to have, it's really going to be application point based and what comes into your store and into your install bay today. You could need a 2-channel. You could be just doing a subwoofer, so a Link Q or a DQ. You may be doing a full-blown system where you need a Link 8. Now you're going to do some summing. So, I mean, it ends up being a mix of everything within the lineup. And it is very application or, what is walking into your store at this moment. So it's a mix of it all over time.
And, you know, I think, and maybe you could shed some more light on this, but my gut feeling tells me this is definitely one of those pieces that can help you sell more product to the system or enhance that sale. What do you think?
Kelly?
Oh, absolutely. Sorry. I didn't know where you were going with that one, Ben, but it's okay.
I'll take it too.
I'll bring it back. What I'm saying is this is one of those opportunity opening type products is what I feel like.
Absolutely. It allows you to add subwoofers, amplifiers, better speakers. We can now continue to add other. We've used LinkDs in other applications that some people don't even think of video. It's a line driver. Right. So we've done buses with LinkDs where, you know, you have long video signals and you need to amplify that signal to get it from point A to point B. So it's not just built into the audio side. We can use it in other applications as well. It's just being creative at this point and coming up to where you're going to use it and how you're going to use it. The biggest thing about having a mix in all of the lineup in stock, which isn't really a large investment, it is 6 units. Your bigger investment, will be directed towards the LinkD or LinkD DQ coming or the Link 2. That's where the majority of your investment's going to be. But to have a 4, 6, or an 8 in stock or a bass stressor, it's not a ton of investment as a retailer. What it allows you to do is you're ready for any situation that walks through the door or any application that walks through the door. You have it covered by having one of these in stock. Well, this part is fairly inexpensive considering when you look at a head unit change or a source unit change, but will provide the same performance as an output or signal to amplifier. Therefore, you know, or better, absolutely, exactly. It's Jason, or better. In most cases, better because we have a better output voltage. In almost every case, we're going to actually have better sound for the customer. But without it in stock, that sale may just walk out of your door.
What I'm hearing is there's 2 ways to sell it. This I'm learning as we go. One, if you know, there's the application side of things where you must have something like this if you want to install this type of equipment. But the other thing I'm hearing is the sound quality. Right. Madam or sir, if you're going to invest this kind of money into these components, you want to maximize your sound to make sure you're getting those components to sound the way they're supposed to. This little investment here is going to make sure they get that signal.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. That is exactly how you should sell it.
All right, we got a little comment here I want to put up on the screen. Archie Spark says, this is a very needed and informative talk. Ben Wu, that's me. I'm going to give Wavtech a try. Thank you for exposing this new company to us. This brand seems very promising. Great. Thank you, Archie, for that comment. I don't know who this guy is. I can't pronounce his name, but the markings on the board for the jumper settings are clean and make life simple. They control the 2040 volt input setting, signal, or ACC turn on, and the DC offset, et cetera, et cetera.
That's a very good point. That reminds me. So,
you're joking, Ramesh. I'm just playing with you. Yeah.
Good job, Ramesh. that reminds me of something. So in the process of you know what, this new Link DQ, we've been working on this for, you know, a long time. So now that this has finally come out, we actually already did a running change on the other models, all of them actually, even including the Link 2, to move some jumpers that we had on the inside previously to now being, I don't know if that's in focus there, the audio detect jumpers. So I was talking about the audio detect system that we did. What made it really unique is that ours is the only system that detects both DC offset and audio signal simultaneously on the speaker level inputs and audio signal on the RCA or aux inputs. But of course, there's some cases where you don't necessarily want that sustained hold on that the audio detect does. And because we always wanted to make these so small, those ended up being jumpers on the inside. But we also found from, you know, doing this for a while is that the ground jumpers that we had on the outside essentially are, you know, obsolete. And so we replaced those with the internal jumpers now. And so moved those to the outside. So now, even though factory default is still all on, so guaranteed our unit's going to turn on no matter what you've hooked to, whether it's a high voltage amplified system or deck power, it's always going to get a signal to turn on. And same even goes for, you know, standalone systems. If you're using your phone, it's going to detect that audio and turn on as well. But you can bypass either one independently or both. So that was a new feature that made a running change through the whole line.
Very, very cool. Gentlemen, we're almost at the bottom of the hour. Anything that we might have missed as far as announcements or product, you know, anything like that? Because I kind of got the best part for the end.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure we covered everything. Anything else, Jay, that you wanted to talk about?
We didn't really touch on the loading stuff, but that's one other primary thing that our line has that is unique, is that we've had loading built in that is OEM loading on the speaker level inputs that show the factory system a speaker load, and what we have built in since the beginning goes all the way back, back to early 2000s with some European vehicles, and so the beauty of having that built in is that you always know what's going on, right? If you don't get any audio, in the case of some newer Chryslers, all you need to do is add a little bit more loading, and one of the products, the accessories that we have, is this tiny little guy here, which is the Link LD, and then we've got a new model, Link SL, coming out, which is also tiny. It's in the same chassis as the IRAD, which we didn't talk about, but so all this does is just add a little bit more loading, and the Link SL is selectable loading, and but because we have it built in, you don't have to waste an hour trying to figure out, why don't I have any sound? That because we already have loading built in, you just need a little bit more, and that's just for those Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge cases from about 15 and up. It was the non-amplified screens, and then from 18 it was non-amplified and amplified, and the impedance changed a little bit. So we actually went from an original version of this, the Link 90, down to Link LD, which drops the total load to 36 ohms. And then, of course, with the Link SL, it's selectable. It's really designed to work with our product and be universal, because it has, sorry, I took it away there from you too soon, Ben. I have it upside down there. So it's actually got selectable loading. It takes it all the way down to 20 ohms or 22.5 ohms for some corner cases. There are some strange Subarus and some other stuff that maybe require either 2 Link LDs or one of those.
I got a question coming up here from a Jason Pawlowski. Mm-hmm. What value resistance is the loading?
Yeah, so what's built in is 180 ohms, and that covers going all the way back, almost 20 years of some European vehicles and a few rare US vehicle cases. So because we already have loading built in, that's what allows us to make such small outboard additional loading, extra loading modules, because it's in parallel with that, right? So we don't need to add as much. And everything that we do is based off of handling those 40-volt RMS peaks that we still haven't seen in a vehicle, but we're ready for it in case it happens. So when you plug the Link LD in line with the built-in loading, which is 180, and this is 45, it becomes 36, and so that's where you get that. And that's why there's 2 numbers on the bottom of this little guy, because one's universal. If you're using it with something that has no loading built in, that's your top number. What is it? 90, 45, 30, and 22.5, and then it drops down, of course, because of the parallel load built in. But there's also reasons why you may not want any loading, and that's been a feature we did on the I think the first running change like 2 years ago on the Link 4, 6, and 8, because we came across some weird cases. There was actually the ride command that was in the Razor systems with the Link 4 gets used a lot for side-by-sides or motorcycles or whatever, because it's got the aux input, and you can actually set the remote. So it's
we didn't talk about the aux input.
Oh yeah. So
important feature right there.
It's very important. Yeah. So the Link 4, 6, and 8.
Come on back, Jay.
Yep. You got it there. Okay. So yeah, this aux input on the Link 4, 6, and 8 actually can handle up to 5 volts RMS. And the remote that comes with the unit, I have one plugged in here. If you change over to the aux source, it turns blue, and you change back to the main source, it turns red. But there are cases where this is your whole preamp for your whole system, right? So you don't want it to, if you're using a Bluetooth dongle or a smartphone as the preamp in your side-by-side, or as your source in your side-by-side, and this is your main preamp, then you don't want it to change to an empty source. So there's actually a mode in the remote that comes with the Link 4, 6, and 8 that has little switches on the back that tell the remote what the knob controls. And so in the default, it's just sub-level. But if say you have an aux only system, then you want this knob to be your master volume. But also if you press and hold, it's your subwoofer level. And so this allows you to do a full system without a head unit, basically, in classic cars and motorcycles and side-by-sides and whatnot. But the Link, so what I was getting at with the story with the Razor was, it's one of the worst factory radios seen in a while, and it actually has such poor frequency response that you actually have to do summing with it to get enough bass output. And at the time, the loading that was built in, you couldn't bypass it easily. So I added that to the Link 4, 6, and 8, so you can actually sum low-level signals as well if you wanted to. But now with this new latest change with the auto turn-on jumpers I mentioned, we brought that across the whole line, so you can bypass the loading on any of them. So although most of them have they have the RCA inputs, you don't really need to do it that way. In the case of the summing, you would. Right. So just one more thing.
I think you did a pretty good job there.
Thanks. I appreciate that.
All right. Kelly.
Yes.
What's going on with Importel? I know we saved the best part for the end here. Let's talk a little bit about this. We've got a deal going on, don't we?
Yeah, we're going to throw up this little game over deal with the Link DQ because it's such a neat and cool and fun piece that's coming. They will be shipping in January. We're going to offer a pre-order special now till January 15th. If you buy 5 of these, you'll get one free. That's going to run to January 15th. Your promo code that you have to mention, either if you're calling it in, mention promo code Game Over, or if you're doing any type of web orders, which you should visit Importel.com, create an account if you don't have one. We have one of the best sites in the industry, and just write it in the comment section, promo code Game Over to get your buy 5 get 1 free deal.
Hey Kelly, see, it pays to watch CMA.
You
get access to deals like this, and if you're watching this on demand afterwards and not live, if you're not already signed up, make sure if you're a dealer, whether you're a shop owner or a sales manager, that you message us so that we can add you to our exclusive Canadian Dealers Facebook group only. This is where we post all these exclusive deals for dealers only. Guys, I can't thank you enough. It's been a wonderful time spent. I hope you guys have a great holiday season. And those of you watching, I hope you've learned a little bit more about the Wavtech line. And if you're looking for Wavtech and you're a Canadian dealer, make sure you check out Importel Ltd. Looks like they got the goods and they've been around for a long time, and they're going to continue bringing the goods, especially when it comes to Wavtech product. Jason Kemmerer,
awesome.
Gentlemen, thank you for joining us, and I'm sure we're going to have you back sooner than later. Have a great holiday, sir.
Thanks, Ben. You too.
And Kelly, what can I say? Sounds like it's a solid product, and you're doing very well with it. But but it definitely has its place in the shop.
It definitely has its place. It's a great product line. I just want to mention one more thing. It's profitability for the stores. Its internet presence is almost non-existent other than the websites for Wavtech and us. It is a profit center, and it is a way to make sure that you're able to deal with vehicles coming in your store today. And
it could definitely open the doors to increasing that sales opportunity as well.
Absolutely.
Hey, Kelly, thank you so much. You have a great holiday.
Awesome,
we'll see you in 2021 with some more connected podcasts from Importel.
Absolutely. Thanks, Ben. And you have a happy holiday as well.
It's great. All right, folks, there you have it. Another CMA Connected in the books. That was Importel and Wavtech. Next up, we're coming to you Wednesday this week in 2 days' time with another special podcast. Make sure you're following us on Facebook, on Instagram, LinkedIn, even YouTube. We're going to be there. Holidays around the corner, but we got one more to go. So we'll see you guys on Wednesday. Same bad channel, same bad place. I'm your host, Ben Wu, for CMA Connected. Until next time, we connect.